Right. So, I watched Zombievers last night, and I had to come over here and post my thoughts on it because that's a that's a movie. The premise is very very simple to understand, but you're not ready for this. It's about beavers that are zombies. I know, wild concept, but hear me out. This group of girls decide they want to go for a trip by themselves to this log cabin, right? So, hear me out, is where it gets crazy. They decide that after they get a little settled in, get their stuff into their little cabin for the night, or for the in the afternoon or morning, sorry, they decide to, go swimming. And, there's a little raft out in the water where, you could just dive off of because it's anchored in the middle of like a lake or a pond or something. Kind of easily accessible to where you swim. So, they're there. They're looking around. They're having fun. Just doing girl things in the water. Well, back for around, I don't know, maybe 1980s, 1990s kind of like ordeal going on. It's just normal girl stuff. And then they decide that they see a beaver dam. So, they go over to the beaver dam, check it out. But there's a twist. It's covered in green sludge. But you know what they think about it? They think it's beaver piss. I don't understand what the fuck they were thinking by thinking that this like neon green sludge on a beaver dam is beaver piss, but okay, whatever. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I wish I could understand it, but I don't. It's a wild movie. But hear me out on this one. After they're done that, they encounter, a bear. Scary stuff. An old man out of nowhere shoots a gun, scares it off. Talks to the girls, tells them to be decent and all that, like cover up. Because, kids around. So, I understand where he's coming from. 100%. I get it. Wants them to be not subjected to inappropriate stuff at a young age. I understand. But, they call him an old creep, whatever. They go back to their cabin. The afternoon goes by. Just your normal girl stuff. And then later in the night, they decide they're going to have a little game night where they thought they were going to try with really shitty, like, would you rather, truth or dare. Got a little saucy there. And then it got real weird. They started talking about making out wildly on the couch, stuff like that. It was weird. It was some wild truth or dare, would you rather's, but I can't say it here or I'm gonna, it's that bad. That's all I can say. And suddenly they hear a bang. So, they check it out. Weird stuff. And then figures out that at some point, one of the girls had managed to tell their boyfriends where they were going. All that interesting stuff. That boys get around. It's, couples being couples in the early 20s, back in 1990s, 1980s kind of area. All that intimate stuff. Again, can't go into detail, but you can kind of put pieces together where that's going. Anyways, not the point. And fucking... Oh, I'm still trying to fucking reel my thoughts on this movie because it's fucking weird. So, they're doing their things after that. They start noticing, I forget what it was they were noticing. They were noticing weird sounds outside. And so, one of them decides that it's a bright idea to go outside all that fun jazz. Then the first fucking zombiever comes around. And it looks like this. This ugly fuck here. Just gross. You know, they do the things. Deal with the evil beaver thing, you know. Or the quote-unquote zombiever, quote-unquote. Can't see the quotes, but you get the idea. They take it out. They think it's dead. Because it was in the bathroom somehow. Don't know how it got in, but, you know, it's in the bathroom. They kill it. Unfortunately, yes, I don't care. I will say it. I have no shame in saying it. And, you know, they bag it up after disposing of the corpse. You know, put it in the bag, tie the bag up, throw it outside. Whatever, done and done. They'll deal with it in the morning when they wake up. So they decide that in the morning, they're gonna go have a little triple date swimming day. You know, again, normal couple things. But, as they walk out the door, the bag is open and bloodied. You know, gross stuff. One of the guys, who's a fucking idiot, fucking just says, oh, well, I don't know. I mean, to them, yeah, it would have made sense that a predator came by, grabbed up the corpse and left after eating, and brought it back to eat it somewhere. You know, just normal things. But, little do they know. They, go for the swims. You know, they're having fun in the water, all that fun stuff. One girl steps in. You know, she's hesitant to go in the water because she just wants to hang out in the sun, enjoy the sun while the others are having fun. And, you know, she at least steps into the water after finally giving into the peer pressure. Doesn't go much further than stepping into the water, but maybe what? Ankle deep, I'd say? Give or take ankle deep. And, you know, just standing there chatting with her friends as she's standing in the water and they're all having fun. She feels something hit her foot. So, you know, she's freaked out because she thinks it's something. She doesn't know what, but I assume they all thought it was maybe another beaver. Lo and behold, it's a fucking beaver. You know, it startles them all, and one of the guys gets his foot absolutely chewed off. Like, cleanest chew you'd ever see. So, it was bad practical effects. It's the practical effects, alright. Looked like, and like, you know, they chop it off. He's freaking out because he's in pain after being drugged underwater and having his foot gnawed off. You know, and he comes up, and, you know, the water's bloody. But looks, to me, what it looked like is somebody ripped open a fucking, like, Kool-Aid packet with some hardcore red 40 in it, and, just ripped it open, just dumped it in the water. It went red. Like, it was painfully red. And, you know, the whole spooky scene goes on there. One guy has his foot chomped off. The other one has something else happen to them, I think. I don't remember exactly what they got for an injury because it was so fucking weird of a movie. And then, you know, they get on the little anchor in the middle of the water. A little, like, dock thing that's in the middle. And, you know, they're panicking, not sure what to do. They go back to their cabin to try and figure out a game plan and get him back to a hospital so they can reattach the foot. You know, just normal stuff. Then we come to realize that they tried to use the landline and it didn't work. Can you guess why? Boom, cutscene. Beavers chewed the wires and clawed at it. It's something, alright. And, you know, cliche horror movies, like really shitty made ones. Well, it's so shitty that it's good. You know, whole thing goes by, all that fun jazz. And, oh, the acting in the movie is so cliche. Like, it literally feels like you're watching a movie from like the 1980s to the 1990s, like a cliche horror movie. And, you know, beavers start invading the cab, or start attacking the cabin, all that fun jazz. And they can't leave. Somehow, I don't remember how, but two of them at least managed to leave the cabin right fast. Don't know how, but they managed to. They get in their Prius and drive into town, or try to drive into town, while there's, oh, excuse me, the others are scrambling to protect themselves inside this cabin, boarding up the wall, windows, doors, and shit with like furniture and somehow boards where no idea where the fuck they come from. You know, start boarding up the building, trying to keep themselves safe from beavers. But lo and behold, wood, beaver, you know how that goes. Beavers chew through boards. And, you know, just cliche zombie shit. Just like really, really cliche zombie shit going on. You know, they break in windows. But the thing is, they're trying to defend of these beavers. But my god, the acting for it is painful. Because they're supposed to be really having to go with these beavers and, like, killing the zombievers. Hey, I hate that I'm having to use that term and it actually makes sense. I hate that that makes sense to me now. And, you know, it's just the weakest stabs. Like, you're just trying to, like, playfully stab a fucking toy with, like, a toy knife. It's bad. And it's this whole scene. It goes on and on and on and on and on. For, what, 5 minutes? 10 minutes? And, they're driving down the road, find a tree, conveniently, in the way. And, you know, zombievers, whoop-de-doo, they fucking shoot the tree down, because they're apparently go from dumb little beavers to fucking scarily smart, tactic-driven zombie beavers. It's fucking strange. I don't get it. You get a little cutaway to like a little beaver that's like sitting by the log, and then he scurries off for God knows how long. They start panicking, trying to figure out a way to move it. Lo and behold, the one guy with them, because there's 3 that left, tries to go back for help after providing her a weapon, or the other 2 with a weapon to kind of hold themselves off from zombie beavers until he gets back. But lo and behold, the beavers just scurried out of sight to another tree, and as he's walking back, gets crushed by a tree. And somehow, it's perfect timing. It boom, lands right on him, instantly kills him, or quote-unquote instantly kills him. You'll understand that whole quote-unquote that I made there earlier. And, you know, she's panicking because she just watched, or she just looked back and sees him crushed under a tree. She's panicking. The same old guy that scared the bear off comes out of the forest, shooting the zombievers, kind of getting rid of them to help her. Helps her carry the one with his foot chomped off to his truck. They get in that truck, and they go back to try and get phone from one of the neighbors. You know, they're driving and driving. We cut back, and then we cut back to the cabin. And the cabin is still just in pure, utter chaos and dismay as they're dealing with these beavers and shit. And I'm trying to remember what happened exactly in this moment. It was so fucking weird. I want to say that they were still fighting the beavers, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure there's another scene of them stabbing beavers with the weakest stabs ever. Like, clearly staged fake stabbing. It's bad. And he's over here with a weapon, not doing jack shit. Locked in a room somewhere, while the 2 girls finally kill the beavers and board the shit up. I think that's how it went. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Quote me on that one. Or don't quote me on that one. No, sorry. I'm remembering now. You know, he was huddled up after they killed the beavers. He went into a room to try and coordinate something. The 2 women were fucking pushing a chair to somewhere, or pushing a TV in front of the door to finish getting that boarded off, and proceeded to duct tape it to the wall. Yeah, duct tape. Not the somehow boards and nails they got with the hammers they got somehow. No, they decide to duct tape the shit to the door. And, like, it's slack as fuck. and it's barely being held on to either side of the wall where it anchor in. It was, oh, it was bad. And then the other three that were in the truck finally get to the neighbor's place, and they go investigating through it to try and find the people, but whoop-de-doo, the house is torn to shreds somehow. And the old man tells her to stay in the living room, which in my opinion was a stupid idea. He leaves her there with her boyfriend, and he goes searching around the cabin to fucking find the owners. Finds the old geezer dead on the floor, blood all over the floor, and he's in like the most comical death pose imaginable. And he goes back to them, says that he won't be a help. So he goes to the girl, tells her to stay here again in the living room while he goes upstairs and checks. So he goes upstairs, yada yada yada, goes up there to check if anything's there. And he finds the old lady there, also dead, in her bed, laying completely like stiff as a board type deal, like arms straight to their sides, legs straight, like the most unnatural death pose imaginable. He finds her and says that's one hell. Hey, I think he said that's one hell of a way to go. I don't remember. He goes back downstairs, and as he's grouping up with her and her boyfriend again, they hear the deepest growl possible. Oh, excuse me. And she asks him, what the fuck was that? And we come to find out that the bear or the zombievers can infect other fucking animals. So lo and behold, he transforms into a beaver and fucking tries to murder her, but he gets the old man instead and starts chewing on his face and ripping chunks off his face. It was graphic, but really terribly graphic. And she's just sitting there with a rifle held up, just sobbing. And we're watching it, we're just sitting here like, shoot him! Fucking shoot him! It didn't happen for what, good 30, 45 seconds, and then she finally shoots the shot. Like, you didn't do that earlier? But instead of hitting the zombie fucking beaver man, she shoots the guy in the eyeball, or shoots the old guy in the eyeball, killing him instead of him. It was bad. Then she just tries to shoot him. Lo and behold, rifle's out of ammo somehow. Trust me, it gets weirder. And earlier, because I can't describe it, but there was one other scene where a woman transformed into a zombie, but you could see the whole transformation scene. It was gross. Her teeth fell out, fucking... Her face contorted into more beaver shape. And it was gross. But anyways, back on topic. We were there watching him or her drop the gun after figure out it's out of ammo, even though the dude has shot, maybe a whopping 3-4 shots. And it's like a rifle it's like pump action rifle, basically. It shoots rifle calibers, but it's like in the shape of pump action shotgun. So it should hold like theoretically 8 rounds or 6 rounds. Anywhere between 6 to 8 rounds. But no, it's empty after like 3 or 4 shots, maybe 5. So she's panicked. She just drops the gun on the floor, runs out the house, somehow runs through the fucking zombiever fucking infested night, manages to get into the other cabin just fine and dandy, right? Meets up with the other group of friends that she had, and lo and behold, they didn't kill the fucking zombie beaver woman. She's locked in the bedroom. And she's trying to get out by trying to, quote-unquote, pry the door open with her claws and her fingers and hands and shit. But it just looks like she's bouncing on the most imaginary, cylindrical shape object. You can kind of figure where I'm going with this. Just trying to keep it a little more content-friendly. But bouncing on the most imaginary cylinder as possible, which you can get from that. It doesn't look like she's trying to rip the door out at all. And then it just instantly cuts back to them in the house, panicking, not knowing what to do. And uh somehow, well, they managed to board them, or they managed to do something. And I think, oh, beavers start coming out of the fucking floor. That's what it was. That was the weird part. I said an hour earlier, at least in the movie, I call it that they're gonna at some point dig through the floor. Lo and behold, beavers do what beavers do best: tunnels and chewing wood. Sure enough, they're chewing through the floorboards, and they're again doing the same thing, smacking and stabbing these beavers with the weakest fucking smacks and stabs possible. It was so bad, so bad. And they're panicking, and at some point, another beaver managed to get to another cable and chewed it, or was chewing on it, but somehow managed to shock himself this one time. And the shock is so volatile that it catches the beaver on fire. The fucking beaver walks into a curtain, and whoop-de-doo, curtain goes up in flames. And then everything starts going to hell. As they're fighting these beavers from the fucking floorboards, whole house catches on fire. And I think the one girl, I don't remember what she did, but she somehow manages to run to the bathroom for safety while he's killing off he's trying to kill off the other beavers. And then at some point runs into the bathroom with her. And so, they sit there for a minute. They look at each other. She tells him to basically strip so she can search his entire body for bites, because she's assuming that now everybody can turn. So she's wanting to make sure that he's not bit. So he strips down buck naked. Like, nothing on. Not even the drawers. The drawers were gone. She looks him around, looks all over him. He's got no bites. And then he tells her to do the same, so she does that reluctantly. Well, they're both reluctant about it. She starts stripping down so he can investigate if she's got any bites. Sure enough, she doesn't have any bites. And then, while they're in a burning, zombie-infested cabin, these two, like a bunch of little horn dogs, start just going at it in the bathroom. While there's beavers outside, fucking house is burning. Excuse me. And yeah, all shit's going down. They're just making love. They're making sweet love in the bathroom. Like a bunch of freaks. And then she finally clues in that she smells something, and she thinks it's smoke. So they stop their whole love making and all that fun shite. Or, well, quote unquote fun shit. They go to escape the house, all that weird fun shit, And they come to find out that somehow all the beavers are just not there. They get out safely. Don't know how. They start running off. And, oh, no, wait. No, sorry. No, after the lovemaking, sorry, I missed a step. But after the lovemaking, he pulls his drawers up, goes to leave. Sure enough, the infested girl had, at some point, gotten out of the fucking bedroom, pried the door open, somehow managed to dig underground, goes right to where the bathroom is, bursts out the floor, and proceeds to chew on the man's dong. Yeah. It was so bad. Just this mutant zombie beaver woman just starts just murdering this man by chewing on his schlong. I wish I was kidding. So the one girl rushes out and goes out to the living room panicking because she can't escape the building because the door's all barricaded off and they couldn't get it open in time. Next thing you know, the one girl who was left out of the other two that tried to go to the hospital to get his foot reattached had, at some point, managed to get in the get in the driver's seat, drive it over there, like God knows how many minutes, however long, many hours gone by, breaks it through a wall, and just quickly yells out the window that's already open, or well, not open, broken out, leans out the window, screams for her to get in the truck. And so she's scrambling to get in the truck. She's going to the driver's side door like a fucking idiot. Like an actual fucking dipshit. And I'm just sitting there like, get in the bed. That's the fastest. Get in the bed. Go. Get in the fucking bed. No. Takes her sweet ass time to run around the side of the vehicle and get in the passenger side door. Somehow doesn't get attacked. Miracle when there's zombie beavers all over the place and fire everywhere. Gets in the vehicle safely. So they try to drive off. But as they're driving off, whoop-de-doo, the girl who chopped off his schlong, or chomped on it and chopped it off, somehow is on top of the truck, scares the daylights out of both of them. They panic. Instead of when they they did something stupid. I think oh no, it wasn't her doing that. Sorry. They were driving. Oh yeah, the guy with the gun. Somehow, a zombie beaver now, is standing outside, looks at them, and get this, holds the rifle up, aims, takes a shot after they duck down real quick, shoots out the windshield, they crash into a tree, and, they're stunned for a little bit because they just hit a tree. But the wildest shit happens. Zombie beavers swarm the truck. All the infected people show up there. And surprise, also the grannies or the old lady who was upstairs in bed also turns into a zombie beaver human thing. They're all sauntering towards the truck. She's panicking to get the truck started and like screaming at her friend to start the truck, get it going. And then next thing you know, as they're trying to get the truck started, a fucking zombie beaver bear shows up. The same brown bear from the beginning of the movie was bitten by a zombie beaver at some point or another and turned into a zombie beaver bear. And somehow, out of the entire movie, this CGI was the most fucking real looking shit. They went way too hard on making this fucking bear look like an actual zombie bear. And oh god, it was something else to watch. Because it was the most genuine looking shit. Anyways, they managed to get the truck started after that whole debacle with all the beavers swarming the truck and that, or all the zombie beaver things swarming the truck. They managed to get it started, crashing into the tree. They drive off. And then the same chick that bite the dude's schlong off somehow got on top of the truck at some point, even though you never saw it. Fucking major continuity error there. And she pops her head down, from the top of the truck, screaming at them. They panic, slam on the brakes, send her off the hood onto the concrete. Instead of immediately flooring it, they wait 5-10 seconds. Enough time for her to get on her feet if she needed to, but no, she didn't. And, they probably squish her, doing the classic zombie thing, going for the head. They drive off. All that fun jazz. And, they come up to the trees, and then they start fucking going on foot after the fucking fallen trees. And, look down. Also, lo and behold, the guy that got crushed by the tree, he's also a zombie beaver man now. Stuck under a tree. They look at him for a quick second, then they walk off. And they've been walking for God knows how long, because apparently somehow it had turned daylight out. And then as it turned daylight, the one girl who's covered in glass at some point jumped out a window and got in safely. Covered in glass. The one girl takes the pistol from out of the glove box, sneakily, points at her friend, and says, "How do I know you're not going to turn into one of them?" And then she goes into this whole tangent about how she fell out a fucking window, got cut up by a bunch of glass, yada, yada, yada. Looking at those two. And then she finally says, "Wait until I turn to shoot me." so that she's not conscious when it happens. But also, lo and behold, the girl holding the gun somehow starts, or she's for some reason violently shaking, and then boom, transforms into a fucking zombie beaver human. So her friend panics using the axe that she was using as a cane, starts killing the zombie beaver woman, and screaming loudly. And then looks at her friend, sobs for like a good 10 seconds, then starts walking back off into town. And, you know, she's walking, then she looks back, sees the smoke from the burning house, thinks about the nightmare she just escaped, and then notices that when she looks back, she can hear a truck moving. She looks off in the distance, notices a truck coming. So she starts flailing her hands like, hey, help me, help me, help me. And these two idiots, the one's just in the passenger seat not doing jack shit, the other one's driving while texting on his flip phone. Yeah, a flip phone. Saying, hey, there's a girl there, basically. Like, you might want to watch out. He's like, yeah, I'm watching out. Still texting. As she's waving her hands for them to stop, goes to a side view of the road. And he's still texting. Boom! Hits her. And ends with all of them dying from the fucking cabin. Yeah. Wish I was kidding. Easily the weirdest movie I think I've ever seen in my life. I just had to come and rant for a bit to just explain what I just witnessed, because it was something fucking else. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was fucking weird. I'll catch y'all in the next ones. Bye-bye.